An all-new Super Mario spin-off game is in the works featuring Princess Peach, and some fans are already unhappy. Nintendo recently released cover art for their new Princess Peach Showtime game. The princess is prominently featured on the cover as per her usual style. However, as most know, Nintendo has two major studios. There is one in Japan and one in the United States. While it is still one company in Japan, the US studio is responsible for dubbing the games for a Western audience. This is a widespread practice due to the large market in the West, particularly the US. To give you an idea, PlayStation, a Japanese-based company, recently made the US their primary headquarters. The point is that the US market is huge, so they hold certain power over Nintendo. While Japan still marches to its own beat and has full control over its product, sometimes they are willing to make small changes if it means appealing to a wider audience. One of these small changes recently came to the forefront when the US cover art for Princess Peach was slightly changed. I am using the term slightly due to how small these changes were. If someone did not point them out to me, there is a chance that I might have missed it. However, these changes were big enough for some gamers in Japan to notice. People quickly pointed out the differences, stating that the US cover of Peach looked more realistic. She lost her anime look for something more aggressive. While I am not a fan of changing a character's looks, I will admit that the internet might be overreacting on this one. I know that might shock you, as it is not like the internet to freak out over something small and insignificant. The opinions were all over the place, with many pointing out that the US cover felt more Disney than anime. It is clear that they wanted Peach to look more like the film version. Some quickly pointed out that the changes were due to political correctness, although I struggled to see the connection. These were only a few comments of a much larger debate. However, people are on edge about any minor change due to all of the reimaginings that have been taking place. Over the last few years, we have seen significant changes being made to certain characters. In particular, there has been a wide debate about women and how they are portrayed. Some large studios have taken these criticisms to heart and drastically changed some of their women leads. Some say there has been a drive to make women in video games ugly. While I certainly do not believe that to be the case, some undeniable changes have taken place. Games such as Tomb Raider and Horizon are great examples of this. These are, however, only two of plenty of other examples. Most recently, Spider-Man 2 also came under fire for what people labeled an uglier Mary Jane. In that case, I also believe that the internet might have overreacted. The sentiment online is, however, that if you allow for even the smallest change, studios will run with it until the entire design is overhauled. It will be microtransactions all over again. You allow for a few in-game purchases, and before you know it, gaming is changed forever. At this point, changing iconic characters is part of the entertainment space. Whether it is gaming or movies, these changes will happen. We are even seeing them happen in actual history. Netflix recently released a docuseries about Cleopatra, and the changes were very noticeable. Poor Princess Peach does not stand a chance if they can make changes on that level. There are, of course, people who are in support of these types of changes. Many believe that representation should be at the forefront of entertainment. This often means changing the sex and race of an iconic character. While this is prevalent within the movie and series space, in gaming, people are calling for a different type of overhaul. Some believe that women are being used in a solely sexual manner to sell video games. If this is your assessment, you are not incorrect. I have covered this topic many times, and all I will say is people enjoy looking at other attractive people. Even if those people are not real and come in 2D or 3D. Often, when gamers complain about these minor changes, it will be dismissed as an overreaction. However, it is worth pointing out that both sides are guilty here. People who argue in support of changes will often complain about something as small as a short skirt and then turn around and state that it should not matter. Due to this, tensions from both sides run extremely high. Changes have been happening rapidly throughout the entertainment space, and people no longer trust studios to do what is best for a character. Thus, fans become extremely protective. The term defeminization is something that we hear a lot. It has never been more prevalent than when Horizon Forbidden West released their new look for Aloy. It looked like to snuck into the cookie jar and just went to town. In all fairness, though, certain parts of her redesign have been heavily over-exaggerated. Her look was not as bad as certain images on the internet made it out to be. On the opposite spectrum, we also see the demasculinization of characters, and the perfect example of this can be seen in the Saints Row reboot. However, it should be pointed out that while certain mainstream studios choose to do this, there are still plenty of indie studios who stay the course. They know what the fans want and will deliver. The fact remains that most gamers enjoy the visual aspect of games. While there are certain games that you simply play for the gameplay or story and nothing else, other games do have a certain visual appeal to them. You play for the gameplay and stay for the story. However, the visual appeal of an attractive character does not hurt a game. In the case of Princess Peach, while some might not like the changes, there certainly are far worse examples of redesign. In this case, I believe that the changes are hardly noticeable. If you do not have both gameplay covers to compare, you won't know about it. Some might even argue that they like American design more. Certain collectors might even be excited as they can now add both pieces of art to their collection. In fact, this might be an intentional design change for that very reason. Regardless of what you think, these changes are here to stay. Since most people no longer buy physical copies of games, this likely won't have any type of effect on sales.